Stop everything you are doing right now. If this video appeared on your screen at this exact moment, it wasn't the YouTube algorithm. It wasn't a coincidence. It was God. You woke up today with that strange tightness in your chest, that feeling that something big is about to happen in your life and you can't explain what it is. For weeks, maybe months, you've been feeling like you're being called, but you can't identify the voice. The signs are appearing everywhere. Repeating numbers on the clock. Dreams that recur 3, 4, 5 times. Casual conversations with neighbors, with the girl at the grocery store, with the rideshare driver, which seem to bring specific messages just for you. And you keep wondering if you're going crazy, if it's just a coincidence, if you're overreacting. I'm going to tell you right now with all firmness, it is not a coincidence. God is sending a direct alert to your life, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal to you exactly what the message is that the Father wants to deliver to you today. I will show you the 3 unmistakable signs that you are receiving an urgent divine communication. I will explain the exact reason why God chose this moment in your life to speak with you. And I will give you what you need to do in the next 24 hours, so as not to miss the blessing that is being prepared in the spiritual realm around your name. If you are over 35 years old, pay double attention, because this stage of life is the moment when God separates the chosen from the distracted. It is when heaven manifests with more force over each person's destiny. And what I am going to share with you now will completely change the way you see everything that has been happening in your life in recent months. Take a deep breath, because from here on, there is no turning back. The first sign that you are receiving a divine alert is the most common, and it is precisely the most ignored. It is restlessness for no apparent reason. You are lying in bed. Everything is apparently fine in your house. The family is sleeping. The dog is quiet. The wind is hitting the window, and yet you cannot sleep. Your heart beats differently. Your mind works non-stop, but it's not medical-type anxiety. It's a warning. It's your spirit calling you to hear something that your rational mind has been muffling for a long time. Think about your last week. How many times did you wake up in the middle of the night, between 3 and 4 in the morning, for no reason? Spiritual tradition calls this time the spirit hour. It is the moment when the veil between the material world and the spiritual world becomes thinner. When this happens frequently, it is God asking for space in your inner schedule to talk to you. And many people waste this moment by picking up their phone, opening social media, turning on the television, fleeing from the silence. Don't do that. The next time you wake up at that time, sit up in bed, breathe, and simply listen. You will be surprised by what you will hear inside yourself. The second sign is the appearance of unexpected people. That distant cousin who got in touch out of nowhere after 15 years. The childhood friend you hadn't seen in 20 years and who appeared in a store in Chicago, in Houston, in New York, in Seattle, in Miami, in any corner of this enormous country. You thought it was a coincidence. It wasn't. God uses people as messengers, and usually the most important message arrives through the person you least expected. Write this down. The next time someone appears out of nowhere in your life, pay attention to every word they say. Right there, in the middle of an apparently silly chat, could be the exact phrase that heaven wanted to deliver to you. The third sign is what I call the breaking of comforts. Suddenly, things that always worked in your life start to fail. The job that had been stable for 15 years becomes unstable. The relationship that seemed firm starts to shake for no apparent reason. The health that was impeccable begins to show strange symptoms, exams with no clear diagnosis, pains that appear and disappear, and you think, why is everything crumbling right now, just when I was finally at peace? Calm down. It is not crumbling. It is being dismantled to be rebuilt to a much higher standard. God removes the old foundation to build the new building. But if you cling to the old foundation, you will suffer during the construction. If you let go, you will see the building happen fast and glorious. And here comes the part that few people tell you. These 3 signs are almost always accompanied by a very specific physical sensation. Weight on the shoulders, as if you were carrying something invisible. Sudden heat in the hands, especially in the palms. Tingling at the back of the neck, at the height where the spine meets the head. If you have felt any of these symptoms in recent weeks, I want you to comment below with the word chosen in all caps. I need to see how many of you are receiving this transmission at this exact moment. And if this video is touching your heart, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, because what comes next will explain the real cause of these signs. And this cause will shock you. Why would God choose you right now to send such a strong alert? There are three main reasons, and I will present each of them to you in depth, because understanding the reason is the first step to responding correctly to the call. The first reason is that you are approaching an irreversible decision. It could be a professional decision, a new position, a proposal to move cities, a marriage proposal, a separation, a large purchase, an investment involving a lifetime of savings. God knows that this decision will define the next 20 years of your existence, and like a loving father, he does not let his child walk in the dark without warning. He turns on the lamp. The signs you are receiving are that lamp lit by the Father, but if you don't stop to listen, you will make the wrong decision and pay dearly for it. There is a story that marked me deeply. A 47-year-old man from rural Tennessee, a merchant in a small town. He was about to close a massive partnership that involved the entire inheritance his father had left him. Everything looked perfect on paper, documents in order, recommended partner, promising project. But for 3 nights in a row he dreamed of a locked door, locked with chains. He ignored it. He said it was anxiety, that it was the fear of a big venture. He closed the deal. In 6 months he lost everything. The partner was a professional scammer. The dream was the divine alert. He didn't listen. He lost 3 decades of work in a few months. Today he is starting over from zero, over 50 years old, and he keeps telling me, if I had listened to the dream, my life would be different. Now answer me silently in your heart. What decision are you about to make? What door are you about to open? Is God warning you about something at this exact moment, and are you pretending you're not listening? Don't make that mistake. The price of ignoring a divine alert is too high. The second reason you are being alerted is that you were designated to fulfill a specific mission in this time of your life, and you are late. God has a purpose for every person he places on this planet. There are no people who came here for nothing. And when the time for the mission is approaching, the Father presses the call. It's like a phone ringing insistently. At first, you ignore it. Then, the ring gets louder, more frequent, more annoying, until it becomes impossible to ignore. The signs you are receiving are that phone ringing inside your soul. Do you know what your mission is? I know it sounds like a cheap motivational seminar question, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something concrete. Is there a word that keeps coming to your mind, an idea that insists on appearing, a path that always seems to call you back? It could be teaching. It could be taking care of someone. It could be starting a business in a specific field. It could be writing. It could be being a spiritual counselor in your community. It could be caring for your grandchildren with more presence. It could be opening a kitchen at home to feed the needy. Whatever it is, you know deep down what your mission is. And God is reminding you now because heaven's clock is marking the right time. The third reason is the most delicate, and I need your courage to hear it. God is alerting you because there is a spiritual battle happening around your life at this exact moment. There are forces that do not want you to prosper. There is envy, spiritual oppression, spoken curses, negative intentions that have surrounded your name for years. People who smile at your face and pray against you behind your back. You've felt the weight of this for a long time, but you never had a name to give the sensation. Look back. The last 5 years of your life. How many doors closed for no logical reason? How many opportunities just barely missed? How many times did you feel like you were in an invisible labyrinth, going in circles without getting anywhere? It's not your incompetence. It's not bad luck. It's a spiritual trap set against you. And God is sending you this alert now precisely because he wants to get you out of that trap. And this is exactly where we need to hit the brakes. Because you need to understand the size of the war happening around your name at this exact moment. Everything you've felt in recent months, this restlessness, these closed doors, this strange feeling of running in the dark, is just the visible layer of a much larger spiritual chessboard. And on this board, you are the main target. The alert God is sending you is the final warning before the definitive turnaround of your life. That is why the Father prepared the sacred book for you, the 21 Days of Prosperity and Alignment with God. This sacred book is not just a reading. It is the exact manual for you to decipher the signs you've been receiving, break away from the forces holding you back, and enter the path the Father already designed for your life before you were even born. Each of the 21 days contains a specific key, a precise prayer, a movement of faith that unlocks blessings held back for years in the spiritual realm. The link is in the first comment of the channel, and I need to warn you with all seriousness. This content has already tried to be silenced several times because it directly challenges the narratives of the sleeping religious system that keeps people in spiritual poverty. Download it now. Not tomorrow. Now. And leave the comment below. I am chosen and I will download the digital book. Now that you've decided to act, the next truth I tell you will be the final blow against all the forces that have tried to silence you until today. Turn your attention to a very important detail. When God sends an alert, He never sends it alone. It always comes accompanied by an offer. Have you noticed that in your life? Every time heaven shows you a danger, it also opens an exit door. The problem is that most people are so paralyzed by the alert that they don't see the exit, and then they spend years looking at the problem without seeing that the solution was right there, waiting to be noticed. The fourth sign of divine alert, which I hadn't mentioned yet, is the feeling of strangeness within your own home. You suddenly look at your living room and feel that it is no longer your place. You look at your job of 20 years and feel that it no longer belongs to you. You look at the people you live with and feel that there is a growing abyss. It's not depression. It's not a cheap midlife crisis. It's your spirit being prepared for a change of level. God takes away your attachment to the old before giving you the new, because if He gave you the new while you were still in love with the old, you wouldn't let go of the old, and He needs you to have empty hands to receive what is coming. There is another cause rarely spoken of, but extremely important. You are being alerted because there is a spiritual testament arriving. There are people in this world who are about to leave a spiritual inheritance for you. It could be knowledge. It could be a protection passed from generation to generation. It could be a decisive contact. It could literally be a financial inheritance you can't even imagine. But for this transfer to happen, you need to be aligned with heaven. And the alert is precisely the invitation to this alignment. Now I need you to stop and take a deep breath, because what I'm going to tell you now hurts the chest. Everything we have described so far, this restlessness, these repeated dreams, these scattered signs, these invisible blocks, are the fruits of a divine call that has been echoing through your life for much longer than you imagine. You've already felt in your skin that the Father is calling you. You've seen too many signs to keep pretending it's all coincidence, but something is holding you back. There is an invisible chain that tightens your wrist every time you try to take a concrete step toward heaven. Every time you decide to change, something happens to pull you back. Every time you resolve to pray more, an urgency appears that steals your time. Every time you say you're going to enter a new spiritual path, exhaustion comes with triple force. And this chain wasn't born today. It was forged over years, in words spoken against you in conversations you never even knew about, in envy that surrounded your name when you prospered a little, in wrong decisions in the past that opened spiritual gaps that remain open in your invisible field to this day. The problem, you see, this divine alert arriving now, is only the visible layer of a much deeper spiritual chessboard where concrete forces move to prevent you from reaching everything the Father has already set aside for your life since before the foundation of the world. And you are the target. It's not an exaggeration. It's not a mystical fantasy. It is the concrete spiritual reality behind your repeated dreams, your nocturnal restlessness, your inexplicably locked doors. That is why the Father prepared the sacred book for you, the 21 Days of Prosperity and Alignment with God. This sacred book is not just a reading. It is the divine manual that deciphers exactly the type of alert reaching you at this exact moment. Each day of the 21 brings a practical orientation, a precise prayer, a concrete step that dissolves the invisible chains and aligns you with the exact frequency of the Father's voice. Day 1 unlocks your spiritual perception. Day 7 breaks the cursed words spoken against your home. Day 14 releases the prosperity that was held back in the invisible field for years. Day 21 seals the definitive alliance between you and heaven for your entire life. In just 3 weeks, you move from a life where signs confuse you into a life where signs guide you with absolute clarity, with total sharpness. The link is in the first comment of the channel. And I need to be very honest with you now, without beating around the bush. This content has been attacked, silenced, and removed from platforms several times because it directly challenges the narratives of the system that keeps people spiritually asleep. There is a great interest in keeping you ignoring your own calling. There are people who live off your spiritual confusion, who profit from your lack of direction, who benefit from your paralysis. And the sacred book breaks all of that once and for all. It puts the truth in your hands, without intermediaries, without manipulation, without absurd charges. Download it now, today. In this exact minute you are listening to me, because tomorrow may be too late, because the window that opened for you may close if you postpone it once more. And when you download it, I want to read here below in the comments of this video, your confirmation of faith written by yourself. I am chosen, and I will download the digital book. This comment is a spiritual decree. It is a concrete act of faith. It is your yes to the Father's call after so many years of maybe. Now that you've decided to act, the next truth I tell you will be the final blow against everything that has been stealing your peace, prosperity, and spiritual clarity in recent years. Stay firm with me, because the best is coming now. There is an exact sequence you need to follow to respond to God's alert correctly. It's not a generic memorized prayer. It's not just having faith in your mouth. It is a practical, day-by-day process that completely reorganizes your spiritual field and puts you in the right flow. And I'm going to teach you now for free, even knowing that many people will want to silence me for delivering this information. Step 1. Strategic silence. For 24 hours, reduce conversations that add nothing to a minimum. Turn off the news, decrease social media time, avoid gossip, avoid political arguments, avoid people who only talk about illness and death. Create a space of silence inside your home so that the Spirit can reach you. It is in silence that God speaks. In noise, His voice gets lost among the other voices. Step 2. Writing the voice. Take a simple notebook and every morning before breakfast, write for 10 minutes without stopping. Don't think about what you're writing. Don't correct it. Don't judge it. Just write. You will be surprised by what comes out. God speaks a lot through what the ancients called spirit-led writing. Messages you didn't even know you needed to hear will appear on the pages. Step 3. Daily prophetic decree. Every night before bed, declare out loud with firmness, Father, I receive your message. I respond to your call. I align myself with your will. This declaration, repeated for 21 consecutive days, completely reorganizes your spiritual field. It is not a mantra, it is a decree. It is a command given by the authority the Father gave you as a child. Step 4. Presence of people of faith. Do an honest analysis. Who is around you today? That group of work friends who only mock spiritual things? That neighbor who spends her time talking bad about everyone? That relative who laughs when you talk about God? Reduce your time with these people. Increase your time with people who pray, who take care of their own faith, whose hearts are turned toward heaven. You become the spiritual average of the 5 people you hang out with most. Step 5. Immediate practical action. Identify one area of your life where you know you need to change something and start today. Not tomorrow. Today. Even if it's a tiny step. It could be making a call you've been putting off for months. It could be asking forgiveness from someone you hurt. It could be starting to save a small amount each month. It could be stopping smoking, stopping drinking, stopping eating in a disordered way. Heaven moves when you move. While you are standing still, heaven stays still too. And here we reach the point where most people give up. Because knowing what to do is one thing. Doing it is something completely different. How many times have you watched powerful content like this, felt your heart burn inside your chest, noted in your head that you were going to change starting Monday, and in 3 days, everything was back to the same? It's not a lack of faith, I guarantee you. It's not a lack of will. It's a lack of concrete structure. You were raised to run all day chasing bills, to put out fires at home, to solve the problems of adult children who moved back home, to take care of your aging parents, to handle a job that demands more every year. And in the middle of all that, your spiritual life was pushed to the last place in the line of priorities. When you finally remember it, you are already completely exhausted. No energy, no clarity, no direction. And the vicious cycle repeats week after week, month after month, year after year. Meanwhile, in the spiritual field, the time for your blessing is running fast. Windows open and close, divine contracts have an expiration date, and many good people, people who had everything it took to prosper, people who were chosen from their mother's womb, missed the exact time of the turnaround because they were paralyzed in the cycle of infinite routine. I don't want that destiny for you. The alert God is sending you now, this video that appeared on your screen today, is your open window. But a window doesn't stay open forever. And that was why the Father prepared the sacred book for you, the 21 days of prosperity and alignment with God. This sacred book is not just a reading, it is the organized path structured day by day for you to exit the paralyzing cycle of routine and enter the flow of spiritual prosperity that was reserved for your life all along. Each day brings a short, practical, possible step, even for someone who works all day, even for someone who takes care of a large family, even for someone who is too exhausted when they get home. You don't need to become a monk. You don't need to abandon the life you have. You only need 20 minutes a day for 21 days to entirely reconfigure your spiritual field and enter a new phase. On day 3, you will start to notice significant coincidences happening around you. On day 7, clear and revealing dreams reappear. On day 12, unexpected opportunities knock on your door. On day 18, people who were distant return asking for forgiveness or bringing pending resolutions. On day 21, you seal a new and definitive alliance with the Father, and from then on your life is never the same. I have seen 47-year-old men, 60-year-old women, people who thought they were past the age of prospering, make radical transformations after this process. People who resurrected marriages that seemed dead. People who recovered assets lost in old scams. People who reconciled with children who had turned their backs years ago. People who discovered spiritual missions that had been dormant inside them for decades. The sacred book does this because it attacks the root, not the leaf. Most of the spiritual content circulating out there only treats the symptom. It teaches breathing, generic gratitude, motivational phrases. That helps for the day. But the next day, the problem comes back with force. The sacred book goes to the deep root. It breaks the spiritual structures that sustain your blockage. It undoes invisible alliances you closed without knowing in moments of fragility. It seals protections that heaven already wanted to deliver to you years ago, but was waiting for your yes. The link is in the first comment of the channel. And I need you to understand clearly, there is an enormous resistance against this material reaching you. Algorithms pull down the video. Pages that promote the book are suspended. Comments are silenced. Why? Because the spiritual system of this country and the whole world profits from your confusion. The more lost you are, the more you become a consumer of shallow and disconnected content. The more aligned you are with the Father, the freer you become from all manipulation. And the spiritual freedom of one person is the system's worst enemy. Therefore, I ask you, download it now. Don't leave it for later. Don't say you'll see it tonight, because tonight you'll forget. Exhaustion will win, the television will call, and the window will pass. Pause the video at this exact moment. Go down to the first comment of the channel. Download the sacred book and come back. I'll wait for you here. And when you return, leave the sacred comment below. I am chosen, and I will download the digital book. This comment is your first concrete act of faith. It is your real response to the alert the Father sent. It is your yes after so many years of maybe in your life. Now that you've decided to act, the next truth I tell you will be the final blow against the blocks that have been jamming your life for years. And this truth is so important, so decisive, that many people prefer to pretend it doesn't exist. Stay firm with me, because what comes next could be the exact point of the definitive turnaround of your existence. There is one last point I need to deliver to you before we reach the closing. And this point is the most delicate of all. Most people who receive a divine alert and don't respond, it's not because they don't believe in God. It's because they are afraid of the answer. You are afraid of what you will discover if you really stop to listen to the Father. You are afraid that the mission He has reserved for you is bigger than you can carry. You are afraid to discover that you will need to change cities, change professions, change relationships. You are afraid to face truths about yourself that have been kept for decades in the basement of your soul. I understand that feeling. I've been there too. But I need to remind you of one fundamental thing. God never calls you to a place where He won't sustain you. The weight of the mission always comes accompanied by the strength to carry that mission. Whoever signs the divine contract receives along with it the grace to fulfill everything written there. Look at the greatest names in the Bible. Moses was a stutterer and afraid to speak in public, and he freed an entire people. David was a small, scrawny boy, and he defeated a giant. Mary was a teenager from a poor and forgotten town, and she bore the Messiah. Peter was an illiterate fisherman, and he founded a church that crossed 2,000 years. All of them received alerts. All felt fear in their chests. All responded even with the fear present, and all became instruments of transformations that changed all of humanity. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to be available. Available to listen, available to act, available to trust even without understanding everything at the beginning. And now we reach the most important moment of this entire video, because up to here, I've given you information, I've explained the signs, I've shown you the causes. I've taught you the practical steps one by one. But information without concrete action is the same as receiving a treasure map and never leaving home to dig the ground. You can reread this content 5 times. Write everything down in your notebook. Talk to the neighbor about what you learned. But if you don't take the concrete step, none of this will change your life in practice. And I am not going to let you leave here without understanding the exact size of the turnaround available to you at this exact moment. Think with me calmly. You are over 35 years old. You've lived long enough to know that time stops for no one. You look at your parents who have aged, you see how they've become, and you realize that in 20 or 30 years, you will be exactly in their place. And then comes the uncomfortable question that no one likes to ask. What story will I tell my grandchildren when they ask me how my life was? What legacy will I leave engraved on my family's name? What will be left of me when the last day arrives? Did I fulfill the mission for which the Father brought me to this world? Or did I spend my whole life busy, distracted, paralyzed, without ever truly hearing the most important voice of all? These questions hurt, I know, but they need to hurt, because it is the pain of the question that moves the heart in the direction of the answer. And the concrete answer is exactly what God is sending you now, through this video, through the alert that has been echoing inside you for weeks, through the signs you can no longer ignore even if you wanted to. Heaven is calling you clearly, and heaven doesn't call twice in the same gentle way. Each call has its own window. Each window has an expiration date, and what is happening in your life today, these signs, these dreams, these restless feelings, is your current window open before your eyes. If you close this window now, another window will open later, absolutely, because God is merciful to His children. But the next window will demand more from you. It will come through a greater pain. It will come through a significant loss. It will come through an illness, a betrayal, an unexpected job loss, a serious family crisis. Because when subtle messages don't work, the Father needs to use stronger messages so that the child wakes up. And I don't want that for you at all. I want you to respond now to this gentle message before the hard message needs to arrive. And that was exactly why the Father prepared the sacred book for you, the 21 Days of Prosperity and Alignment with God. This sacred book is not just a reading. It is a structured and deep spiritual journey that takes you exactly at the point where you are now, with all your current confusion, with all your accumulated exhaustion, with all your existential doubts, and leads you, step by step, day after day, for 21 consecutive days, to the place where you seal a new and definitive alliance with the Father. 21 days. That is the scientifically recognized time to create new, permanent neural patterns. That is also the biblical time of the prophetic fast of the prophet Daniel. This is the exact time heaven uses to completely reorganize the spiritual field of a human life. Each of the 21 days brings specific, well-directed content, a precise prayer for each situation, a practical movement of faith, a deep reflection on your history, and a real exercise for you to apply before bed. On day 1, you break the seal of spiritual inertia that has been jamming you for so many years. You recognize for the first time for real that there is a divine calling over your life. On day 2, you identify the main spiritual gaps that opened the way for envy, oppression, and cursed words to reach you over the years. On day 3, you initiate the concrete process of closing those gaps with specific prayers based on powerful biblical decrees. On day 4, you start to notice sharper, more revealing dreams with clear messages you can interpret. On day 5, you discover what your main spiritual mission is in this time of your life. On day 6, you learn to clearly differentiate the Father's voice from the enemy's voice, from the flesh's voice, and from other people's voices. On day 7, the first important alliance seal. You renew an old pact of protection that had been forgotten by your family. On day 8, you begin the financial prosperity phase. You learn how money works in the real spiritual field. You understand why some people attract prosperity naturally and others repel it even while working triple. On day 9, you break financial curses inherited from your family lineage. Yes, they exist, and they silently affect entire generations of families. On day 10, you liberate your name in the spiritual field. You take it off the blacklist of those invisible to heaven. On day 11, you activate divine intelligence for your current projects and important decisions. On day 12, unexpected opportunities begin to arrive concretely. On day 13, you learn to discern true opportunities from the disguised traps that appear throughout life. On day 14, the second important alliance seal. You seal the portal of prosperity in your home physically and spiritually. On day 15, you work deeply on forgiveness, because there are people from your past who still hold you spiritually, and as long as you don't let go, you don't fly. On day 16, you reconcile important bonds of your history. People return to your life, truths appear, resolutions happen. On day 17, you activate physical healing as a natural consequence of spiritual healing. Old pains that lasted for years begin to dissolve. On day 18, you prepare the physical environment of your home to receive heaven's blessings. You learn which corners of the house need specific prayer. On day 19, you activate the ministry of intercession. You learn to pray with power for your children, for your grandchildren, for your parents, with a force that moves spiritual mountains. On day 20, you prepare yourself spiritually for the great final consecration. And on day 21, the third and last seal, you close a definitive pact with the Father. And from that exact day on, your life enters another completely different level. You begin to hear with absolute clarity every time heaven speaks. You begin to see the signs with total naturalness. You start taking the right decisions with an ease that didn't exist before. People around you start to notice a different light in you. Projects start to flow without excessive effort. Doors open in the right places. Money circulates with health. Physical health improves visibly. Family relationships are restored. All this because you responded correctly to the divine alert. All this because you said yes at the right moment, in the open window in heaven's time. The link is in the first comment of the channel. I need to warn you one more time, with all the seriousness in the world. This content has already been the target of many concrete attempts at silencing. Algorithms have pulled down this video several times on different platforms. Comments were deleted for no reason. Entire promotional pages were suspended. Why so much resistance against a simple, sacred book reaching the hands of the people? Because it bothers the system too much. Because it sets people free. Because it takes people out of the state of spiritual sleep in which the system keeps them to profit. There are many people making money off your current confusion. There is much powerful interest in keeping the people spiritually disoriented and dependent, and the sacred book breaks all of that at once. It delivers into your hand directly, without an intermediary, without religious manipulation, the knowledge that for centuries was kept by a privileged few. That is why the war against it. That is why the continuous attempt to silence it. But the truth always wins in the end. And today, in this specific video that reached you by pure divine providence, the truth is in your hands to be downloaded. Download it now. Don't wait any longer. Pause the video. Go to the first comment of the channel, do the download, and come back. I'll wait for you right here. There is no absurd cost. There is no bureaucratic complication. It is a simple movement of concrete faith. And when you download it, I want to read below with total strength and conviction your personal decree. I am chosen, and I will download the digital book. This comment is not just a memorized phrase. It is a spiritual signature on the contract with heaven. It is your yes after years and years of maybe. It is your concrete and final response to the divine alert echoing in your life right now. And when you do this, something changes in the invisible field. You will feel it in your skin. It could be a shiver down your neck. It could be a tear that falls for no apparent reason. It could be a feeling of deep peace you haven't had in a long time. It is heaven confirming your yes. It is the Father saying, "My child has returned." Now that you've decided to act for real, the next truth I tell you will be the final blow against all the forces that tried to keep you in the dark during all these difficult years. And this truth will give you the exact key to understanding what is coming for your life in the next 12 months. Stay firm with me, because the best is yet to come in the next few minutes. Before I close this video, I want to deliver one last revelation to you. And this revelation is so powerful that it will forever change the way you see everything that has happened in your life in recent years. Pay close attention. Everything you've lived through until now, all the pains, all the disappointments, all the abandonments, all the falls, was preparation. They were not punishment. They were not bad luck. They were not failure. They were careful preparation. God was molding you for this exact moment you are in now. For the moment you would watch this video, feel this internal turnaround, and take this concrete step of faith. You didn't get here by chance. You got here because heaven's time marked that it was today. And now, with the sacred book in hand, you are ready to enter the most abundant and powerful phase of your entire existence. The next 12 months of your life will be, if you stay aligned, completely different from the last 12 months. You will look back a year from now and not even recognize yourself. You will say to yourself, "I am no longer that person I was last year." You will transition from the person who received confusing alerts to the person who understands every sign from heaven. You will transition from the person who asked for blessings to the person who distributes blessings. You will transition from the person who suffered with blocks to the person who helps others break their blocks. And to close this divine encounter with a flourish, I need to give you the last concrete instruction. If this video truly touched you, if you felt in your skin that every word I said was directly for you, then do 3 things now before leaving this screen. First, download the sacred book, 21 Days of Prosperity and Alignment with God, in the first comment of the channel. The link is waiting there. Second, leave your phrase of faith below in the comments written by yourself. "I am chosen and I will download the digital book." This comment is a spiritual decree with real weight. Third, share this video with at least 3 people you love from your heart, because the divine alert that reached you today may be echoing in the lives of those close to you as well, and the Father often uses his children to reach their siblings. Subscribe to the channel now if you aren't already subscribed. Leave your like on this video. To help this message reach more hearts, hit the notification bell, because the next videos will go deeper into each of the revelations we started here today. And remember, from the bottom of my heart, you are chosen. You have always been chosen. Today you are only responding to a call that has existed over your life since your mother's womb. May the Father bless your home, protect your children, multiply your prosperity in all areas, and give you deep peace in your heart from today on. Until the next video, and may God enlighten you on the way.